You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil.
What the hell is that? Come on,
You teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
These blacks.
Hey, you know what? Let me hit that.
Really?
I can handle it.
I am certain that you cannot.
Oh, come on, I smoked a ton of weed in the 90s.
Right, the 90s.
Yo, yo, yo. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? We are going to just jump straight into it tonight. We are jumping straight into it. Fans, long time listeners of mine, dare I say, my diehard fans, my cult followers, if you will, they may be familiar with a series that I started a while ago, years ago. It was a concept that I called Communitah Mythology. And I explored several different elements of it. And honestly, a lot of what I do from like a philosophical level is still in the vein of Communitah Mythology. But there were times where I got really deep into particular things, the power of melanin, for one thing. We delved deep into the power of melanin on one stream I did. And the first stream, actually, it was a 2-part series, the first streams I ever did on this subject called Communitah Mythology, it was actually with it's actually those streams are probably on Rumble. I'm not sure if I actually remembered to put them on Rumble before I did the old channel wipe. I did a complete memory wipe basically on my channel. If you haven't noticed, very few videos on here compared to what I've had over the years, right? But I delved into this area called Communitah Mythology, and basically we started to explore some of the lesser known but closely held, let's just call them myths of the Communitah. And the big-headed scientist Yakub, he was the first edition of Communitah Mythology. We explored the creation mythology, if you will, of Black people as delivered to us by the Nation of Islam, and it was good stuff. It was one of my more popular streams, especially I wasn't as big. I didn't have like the handful of 5,000 followers I have now. I was probably half as big then, right? But it was a good stream. Did good work. And I haven't really touched back on that much lately because the problem with history is eventually you talk about everything eventually, right? And I was really, really touched, honestly, because I noticed the other day. I'm not Sargon. I keep thinking about these two guys. They're like two of my favorite foreign guys, but Count Dankula. He does this series called Mad Lads, and I watch almost every Mad Lads that comes out because the Mad Lads series. If you don't know who Count Dankula is, that's the white guy on the screen. All right, that's not a creation of Yakub or nothing like that. He's a real white guy. Yakub didn't whip him up in a lab or nothing. But Count Dankula there. He has a series, really popular series. It's a really popular channel anyway. Count Dankula had his whole drama with his Nazi pug doing the German high five. And, he had a whole trial in his country of Scotland doing the German high five. It was wild. That was when I really first heard of Count Dankula. It was because of the scandal. I really didn't know of his channel until I heard of the scandal, right? But I follow his channel and he starts doing I found out about the Mad Lad series, and holy crap. If you want to learn some history, like some really obscure but completely interesting, compelling, bizarre even history, watch Mad Lads, bro. Y'all gonna stop laughing at that German high five, all right? I had to say something. I'm trying to keep this show completely 100% clean. I want this show to be 100% YouTube worthy, all right? Acting like Germans don't do high fives. Come on. We're sophisticated here, are we not? Anyway, I had to. I was really happy to see that Count Dankula did a Mad Lads episode. Now this is officially a part of Mad Lads. Yakub is officially a Mad Lad. This is almost like a great day in Black history, technically. Yes. This is. I mean, we finally got the recognition we've always deserved. All right, he's officially a Mad Lad. He's up on the wall now.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
And so now we got Yakub being added to the Mad Lad docket. He's got his own little slice, his own little envelope in the cabinet. And Count Dankula does a great job breaking down a lot of he actually brought up parts of the Mad Lad story. I mean, I'm sorry, he actually brought up parts of the Yakub story that I wasn't really hip to, because I can only know so many things, right? But he brought up some stuff. I was like, oh snap, that's yeah, I hadn't heard of that before, right? And we're gonna break down Count Dankula's Yakubian Mad Lad story. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for watching. As usual, please do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe. If you would be so kind as to support the show, keep the live stream alive. We are going down the halls of history. We're going to get deep into the Mad Lads drama as presented by none other than the one and only, the OG Mad Lad himself, Count Dankula. I feel, this is almost like a little tiny bit of an homage to the Count, because I fuck with Count Dankula. Count Dankula has a great channel, and I watch his channel like it's the History Channel. I probably recently got more of my history from Count Dankula than I did, like, a History Channel documentary or something on CNN or something goofy like that. This is actually real interesting history, shit guys want to hear about.
Now, before we get into this divine truth, we must first go over some context about those who initially recounted it. The Nation of Islam, who, for context, is a black supremacist scion of enlightened truth seekers that is neither a nation nor Islamic. But
interesting thing about that, he says the Nation of Islam is neither a nation nor Islamic. No, so obviously they're not a proper nation. They have no true territorial borders, right? They own some property here and there, but that's not what a proper nation is, right? He says it's neither a nation nor is it Islamic. And it's a funny thing. This is a personal experience I actually had. I had a friend that got really into the NOI thing at one point. And, as Negroes do, he picked it up in jail. And, I'm never one to really begrudge people their religious beliefs and whatnot. I'm not going to pick a fight with you. I'm not going to stab you with the cross and none of that crazy stuff, We're not there yet. But I remember, because, I'm an inquisitive sort, right? I ask questions. I like to know things. Sometimes my mind goes places that maybe it ought not go, right? And one day I remembered, my homeboy, he used to talk about the NOI and Farrakhan and all of that stuff. And, he was like, real proud of it, or some black power shit though. And that's what I started to notice. His interest in his allegiance even to the nation was more about black power than it was about Allah. And I thought that odd. I really thought that odd. And one day it just occurred to me that in all of our discussions about political this and spiritual that, whenever he would talk about the nation, he would quote the minister about this or that or whatever. He would want to watch something that the minister would he would watch the minister's videos or whatever. But I noticed that the minister himself seemed to, not the minister, but through learning about the nation through the lens of my homie talking about all this shit, I noticed he never really talked about the Quran a lot, right? He talked about the nation, but he didn't really talk about the Quran. And I started to get the impression that it was more of a black thing than it was a Muslim thing. And then later on, you learn that Muslims don't necessarily consider the Nation of Islam per se. There's a whole different thing about that. They are neither Sunni nor Shia.
this Yaqub figure is a key character in their pseudo-religion or cult or whatever the hell you want to call it. Without going all in on the esoteric pseudo-Afro-Turkisms of the Nation of Islam, because that would very quickly spiral into a auditory Hyperborea edit, all we have to focus and lock in on is our man of the hour. his legend or his saga of sorts, to which there are two mainline interpretations. First, we have the original texts as proclaimed by the high clerics within the Nation of Islam. This is the most well-ascribed and the most trad retelling of the legend of Yaqub.
You know, and the thing about the so-called original text is that, and this is the thing, when you start to get, you know, inquisitive and your mind goes places it ought not go, you start to wonder, like, how did this whole NOI Black Power thing start, right? Because you can't imagine that the slaves came off the plantation talking about Yaqub, right? Niggas wasn't whispering stories of Yaqub on the plantation, you know. Alex Jones didn't mention Yaqub when he was writing stories of Kunta and Chicken George and all of that. So where did this stuff come from? And then you start to learn, it just appeared out of thin air, essentially. Just poof, it's here now. Very, very suspicious.
Though not without some deep-seated mistruths. Then there is the outright apocryphal rendition as told by the Nawabian heresy, who were seemingly smoking that Hubbard pack when coming up with their stupid cosmo-chemitist fan fictions.
You know, I watched a bit of this. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I watched a bit of this before I decided I wanted to just, you know, stream about it. But I remember him talking about the Nawabians. And I've heard that word Nawabian before, and I never really got a good grip on what Nawabians are. And he's actually going to get into that later. We just put a pin in that Nawabian cap.
Despite this childish attempt to rewrite the glorious cosmic truth of our peanut head progenitor, they did seemingly stumble upon some true facts by complete accident. But we'll get into all of that later. Now, I'll go over the original story and then a brief aside about the Nawabian pish. And then I'll actually tell you the real story, because I have spent the last 17 years researching this in depth, taking multiple expeditions to sites all over the world, like Birmingham, dragging supposed historians into my van for debriefings. I've been taking a stem cell routine for a decade. I can...
No, seriously though, I wonder, like, how big is his research team? Because when I watch his shows and you just think about what it takes to kind of crack the code on a lot of these little obscure stories and put together all these relevant facts, I'm like, we got about 4 or 5 guys. Do they sit at the computer or do they go put in like actual footwork? You know, my mind just thinks about that stuff. I got like, you know, logistical concerns and shit all of a sudden.
Speak fucking Altaic. My synapses are so fucking dense and tensile that you could use them for bungee jumping. They call me Glue Boy because I stick together entire fields of study with my thorough and cutting research. I've spelunked so deep into the archives of the School of Hard Knocks that hip-hop superstar, literotica writer, and anal hygiene enthusiast Tariq Nasheed has me blocked on Twitter.
He called Tariq Nasheed an anal hygiene enthusiast. That seems like a very, very complicated title. An anal hygiene enthusiast. Apparently, Tariq Nasheed is famous for a song called "Wash Your Ass." I'm seeing if I can pull it up on YouTube real quick. Oh yeah, yeah. He got a whole album titled "Wash Your Ass." Actually, he has a whole album titled "Wash Your Ass." It's the "Wash Your Ass" album. Oh shit! Holy shit, Tariq Nasheed. I had no idea. Yeah, you mean please don't. You thought I wasn't gonna? How dare you type please don't? You know I was. Bro, you knew in your heart In your heart of hearts, you knew in your soul, motherfucker. You knew down in the pit of your soul I was gonna. And you gonna wash your ass.
Your ass, you got to wash your ass. Wash your ass. Just grab a douche, open up your puss, and squash it.
Squash it. Squash. Ladies, is that the sound it makes like when you douche? Does it go squash? I've never heard like a girl actually use that thing before. I don't know if I've ever been with, I've certainly never been in the same room as a girl who was like squashing. And I imagine, girls have to do what girls have to do. So I assumed it's happened at some point around like my vicinity, generally speaking. But all I'm asking is, does it really sound like squash? Because that's an interesting noise he just made there. What do you call that? An onomatopoeia?
Your puss is squash. Your puss is squash. Your puss is squash it. Squash it. I say now dag. Maybe did you pass gas? I think you better go get yourself by soap and wash your ass fast.
Whoa, yo, how many dirty bros do you ever like? How many dirty chicks do you have to encounter before you decide to do a whole diss record against like chicks who need to go take a bath? Like, if you encounter that many women who need to swash it, at some point it starts to become a you problem too, don't you think? Like, is it what is it about me that every time I go to have sex with a chick, her pussy stinks so bad, I be writing bars, I be writing diss tracks and shit. It's just a thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm going too far. Maybe my mind goes places it ought not go.
But we'll also get into that later. I know every major field engagement in the Fenno-Korean Hyperwar by heart, including every picket engagement during the not well-known Siege of Ulaanbaatar. I know the name of every ship present during the sinking of the Turco-Bosnian flagship Rumveta, and every single battle which utilized the highly immoral penal legions called Slavs. Will I bring up anything to do with the Hyperwar? No, I won't, but this is to say that I have been neck-deep in truthery for a good while now. I am an authority on this subject.
Yeah, you know what's so funny about this? And I notice this every time it pops up, and it kind of, I don't know, it makes me smile for some reason. Shout out to Suspicious in the chat. He says, speaking English with an Irish accent is the white version of AAVE. Are you calling Scots niggers? Are you calling Scots niggers, sir? Because I noticed this white on white European racism. They almost hate each other more than they all hate black people. It's very amazing to witness. There's something interesting in the white soul. There's just that European white on white racism. I'm telling you, even without black people, they would still do all the evil shit that black people accuse them of. Because they fucking hate each other as well. It's wild. And now you got this guy basically calling them niggers in the Skoggers. Skogger, look like the angry snowman. I've been trying to tell you, hood. I know, bro. I know. I am. Okay, I'm a Caucasianologist. I at this point, because no one's going to give me the credentials, I've accredited myself. I am a Caucasianologist. All right, I understand. I have studied. I have done field study, laboratory testing that we shall not mention. I have studied the Caucasian inside and out, is all I'm saying. And I know there are very, very interesting, deeply held mysteries in the Caucasian spirit that even I haven't cracked, but I know you people, is all I'm saying. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. AT Alien exists as I've earned a degree. Thank you.
These blacks.
I know that's what you're thinking, but still, thank you. Thank you.
And that I frankly wasted so much time delving into an ancient war with untranslated documents so old that I had to relearn English twice, and that I need to stop myself from wincing in fear at the terms Fingolia, Juan, or Magyaristan. So, flashing my numerous credentials aside, let's get on to the account of Yaqub, according to the Nation of Islam. Our story begins 66 trillion years ago on the moon.
Bro, he took the story of Yaqub 66 trillion years before I took it. I probably took it back like 10,000 years max, right? They was already in a city called Mecca, which implies there was already a city with niggas who named it Mecca, right? It started in the middle, essentially, is what I'm trying to tell you. When I first tried to, crack the code on Yaqub, I basically started in the middle compared to your boy Dankula. That's why he's the count. He's like Scottish nobility or something.
Yes, really, where there apparently once lived 13 tribes of black people, all living in peace and harmony in a heavenly garden. However, Eden never lasts, as a scornful god scientist felt frustrated with these jovial blacks, for you see, they didn't speak the same language. They were...
See, it's always some haters in the clique, bro. It's always a hater in the crew, bro. You can't never just have a bunch of black folk chilling together without somebody doing some extra shit, doing something crazy, feeling all evil. You at the party, it's a bunch of bitches, and you in here face fighting all the niggas.
I'm telling you, man, this the reason why I be hating niggas, man. I'm telling you, man. It just be us. I be hating niggas, man.
Were fractured and divided by their own tongues, deciding to presumably come up with fun and interesting slang and localisms for each other, which isn't very wholesome. As such, in a presumed turd rage, this scientist destroyed the fucking moon, and as a consequence, scattered these divine melanated moonfolk across the earth, leaving the black homeland a charred and ashen husk. One such tribe that was exiled to Earth was known as the Shabazz, led by, you guessed it, Shabazz, who...
Hold up. Is that Shaquille O'Neal? Is that Shaquille? Is that Shaq? That look like Shaq. Hold on, Roland. Roland, wait a minute. Roland, I'm going to need you to stop dancing for a second. We're going to bring you right back because I fuck with your dancing maneuver. But yeah, wait, stop dancing for a minute, Roland. Shabazz is actually a great ancestor of Shaquille O'Neal. Holy shit. This is why we do Communitah mythology. And not only do I just, try to figure out shit on my own, sometimes I have to rely on the white man's wisdom, because the white man, he got that science. I forgot, microscopes and calculators and shit. He gets really, really down to the granular 66 trillion years ago wisdom of it.
You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil? What the hell is that? Come on! You teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
Upon landing on the earth, decided to settle it first in the Nile Valley and then to the Arabian Peninsula. Of course, like any tribe, once it hit critical mass, it decided to splinter, with the leader of the tribe, Shabazz himself, leading a scion of his most loyal followers to settle the interior of Africa, presumably around the Congo Delta. Why? Well, you see, he believed that the tribe's technologically advanced society was eroding their souls, and that...
Wait. So he went to he went to the Congo, It feels like this is like some low key Wakanda type mythology. Like you decided to put your new space people colony in the heart of Africa. Okay, all right. Sounds like Wakanda, but all right. Let me not jump the gun.
As such, he wanted to return to a societally primitive yet spiritually pure and mentally toughened state. He was the first Kaczynski, if you will. As such, he left behind his decadent and degenerate kin in Arabia to fester and collapse under their own tech-induced hedonism. And he set out to secure the future.
Wait, did he just try to basically say Saudi Arabia was like some Afro-futuristic utopia? And then Black Kaczynski was like, you niggers are going to be overwhelmed by your technology, and man cannot survive the overwhelming state and the overwhelming technological future. We must exist in a primitive state. And so then he went to the fucking Congo. Is that what just happened? Is that what just happened? Yo, this story has so many weird twists and turns. Basically, this shit's wild, bro. Let's go back just a few seconds because I got lost.
Of the tribe Shabazz himself, leading a scion of his most loyal followers to settle the interior of Africa, presumably around the Congo Delta. Why? Well, you see, he believed that the tribe's technologically advanced society was eroding their souls, and as such, he wanted to return to a societally primitive yet spiritually pure and mentally toughened state. He was the first Kaczynski, if you will. As such, he left behind his decadent and degenerate kin in Arabia to fester and collapse under their own tech-induced hedonism.
Was that like Atlantis, but with desert niggas? It almost sounds like some Atlantis type shit.
And he set out to secure the future. It was out here in the sweltering jungles of the Congo that they started to physically ascend, and they evolved into higher beings, gaining what we would stereotypically call black physiognomy and features, with even their silken and straight hair drying and frizzing into the modern afro due to their...
Whoa. So the Congo is where we became niggas. Holy shit. See, we were like black utopia tech people, and then we moved deep into the Congo and became niggas. Oh shit. We cracking codes tonight. Cracking fucking codes tonight. We became niggas after we made it to Africa. So before Africa, we wasn't niggas, and then we was in the Congo, and boom, you got to be a nigga to survive here. And we became niggas.
Bodies adapting to conserve water and be overall more efficient, unlike the wasteful and decadent straight hairs that plague the modern ice dwellers. And thus, we truly begin around 4000 BC, in the black city of Mecca, where Yaqub, praise be upon him, was born. A bright yet arrogant child, he was very often derided and ridiculed for his strange case of macrocephaly, being given the shameful nickname of Big Head. Despite this, however, he pressed on, and by the age of 6, he had learned the law of attraction and repulsion by observing steel magnets.
So Yaqub was the very first big-headed nigga. Okay. I mean, apparently he had a giant, like a brain. It wasn't just like this big head with empty space. He had like super duper brain mass, right? And the people like made fun of him because his head was so big. And so he started to hate niggas because, niggas be having jokes. That's one thing about niggas. We don't know everything, but we know how to make fun of you. And so he started to get mad, and he started to hate niggas because of that type of shit.
The children and other adults thought that he was just an ugly and stupid child that was merely playing with chunks of metal before presumably eating them. But in truth, he was analytically studying. because
Yeah, no. Red Illusion, that's actually spot on. He was the first Megamind, right? But he was like an angry little nigga in Mecca, so he was Negamind. That's it. That's actually spot on. Shout out to you.
he was a smart boy with a big head. And fun fact, his big head actually worked way more than all of those other sneering skull cells. It was here, watching magnets repel and attract, that an epiphany struck Yakub. He could create a race of beings who could attract the black man, beguile and then dominate them as they so righteously deserved for making fun of his bean-shaped skull.
Now, this is the part that I'm always mystified by, this one part of the Yakubian mythology story. How do you go from smacking magnets together, watching magnets chase each other around, whatever gay things you did with magnets, how do you go from that to I'm going to create a race of super people to destroy these niggas? How do you really get that from playing with magnets? And where the fuck did you get magnets from? It sounds like magnets were just some shit that nobody knew the power of, and then you just discovered the power of this shit. Like, how did you, of all people, discover magnets? Because, like, you're the first person to actually figure out magnets are good for something. Like seriously, what was going on here? I feel like there are a lot of gaps in this story. This is one of those things where, like, you would need a time machine to answer this. Not to go back 66 trillion years, but to go back to ask, like, Elijah Muhammad, what the fuck is this all about? I think you need to go back and plug in some holes in the story, bro.
At the age of 18, Yakub had managed to learn every single thing that the multiple black universities in Mecca had to teach, taking every subject and getting presumed straight A's all across the board. And he went into studies about what made the black man so great and perfect and high IQ and good at jiving musical rhyming games.
All right, let me figure this out, right? If there are no other, there's no white people in the world, and really there are no really other people in the world. There's basically different shades of Negro, right? Now, how do you go from that to classes on how great the Negro is if there is no other people to compare the Negro to? Like, imagine being a one of one, and then it's like, well, I'm the best thing ever. It's like, well, compared to what? Like, how are you the best of you when you're the only you that ever you'd, right? It's like you got nothing to compare it to. It's really weird when you think about it. Like, how are you studying how great, like the greatness of the black man? It's like, yeah, but superior to whom? Isn't that the whole reason why he created the white people? Because there was nobody else?
Which Yakub discovered the presence of a black germ and a brown germ. This warranted more vigorous and regimented study. As such, Yakub gathered and indoctrinated his 59,999 acolytes and went north into the hitherto unsettled frontier.
See, now in the version I heard, they started sailing, but they were in the Congo, then they were in Saudi Arabia. This story jumps all over the place. It's like listening to a crackhead tell you why he did something.
Settling on the island of Palan, or as we know it today, Patmos in Greece. Once there, he established what could only be described as a melanocratic technocracy, with himself as the unopposed dear leader.
A melanocratic technocracy. Bro, that really sounds like exactly what niggas want. A melanocratic technocracy, right? A nation ruled by the wisest, most melanated Negro, right? Because not only are you wise in an objective sense, like, you know, facts and general knowledge, but you have the enlightenment of your sheer melanin concentration. Because it's sort of like It's like that shit that turns Saiyans to Super Saiyans. Like if you can harness enough melanin, you become super melanin. And if you can reach super melanin, you probably should be in charge of some shit. That's a dope concept. I like what he did with that.
Or, as we know it today, Patmos in Greece. Once there, he established what could only be described as a melanocratic technocracy.
A melanocratic technocracy. Yeah, yes. You can a nation only are ruled by the ascended melanated. You have to be of the ascended melanated class to even be considered for any leadership position. And that's not to say every person of ascended melanated class can just be a leader, right? But these are the people from whom we choose our leaders, right? This is why we listen to the white folk talk about black people, because sometimes they just put it together in such a nice way.
With himself as the unopposed dear leader. This state's objective to experiment and breed out the blackness of all of his disciples. His methodology, chucking dark-skinned babies off of cliffs. He did this for 200 years. This selective breeding resulted in the birth of the brown race.
See, now the version I remember is they were sailing like from Arabia around the Horn of Africa down through like what's that little point between South Africa and Antarctica? It's like this dangerous part. It's like they sailed the long way around Africa, and as they sailed around Africa, and they're like, I guess their fleet, he basically was chucking babies away because he was practicing the same thing. It was like this whole selective breeding. We're gonna have make babies, and we're only gonna keep the lightest babies, right? But in this version with Dankula, he's like, well, they walked, and then they got there, and then they was like, all right, well, the babies we don't want, see, we got this mountain, and then we can go up there on this mountain, and we don't need the babies no more. All right, so it's same idea, but different details.
Broader terms for groups like Indians, Mayans, Malays, Aboriginals, and Italians.
So we created all these other races after Yakub set out on his experiment. Okay. This is what I mean. There was no other people but black people. So why are you studying the greatness of the black man when there's no other man to prove how great you are to?
Of course, more work was to be done, though Yakub, peace be upon him, wasn't going to be around to go through with it, dying at the young age of 150 years old. But ever loyal to their master, who literally mass murdered their parents and children over many, many generations.
And it's crazy how people just ignore that part of the story. Like, you realize Yakub was kind of like bloodthirsty. Like, he was that dude, like in the movie, like what was that movie? What was it, like Throw Joe from the Volcano or something? Like, Yakub's basically the guy. He's like the shaman at the top of the volcano, right? Like in Apocalypto, Yakub would be the guy who takes your heart up and hold it in front of the sun as it goes into an eclipse, right? Yakub is that guy. It's just kind of creepy is all I'm saying.
They pressed on with the whitening, chucking the swarthiest of their children into the ocean like skipping stones. As such, after 600 years, they had finally managed it. They managed to create the first ever white man. Yakub's dream had finally come to fruition, though.
Do you suppose that when they finally cracked the code on pure whiteness, like when they finally achieved supreme whiteness, did they like have a party or something? Like, did they celebrate? Did they have like some kind of religious ceremony? Because it just seems like a huge big day. It just seems like a huge big day. I know the women were happy because, you know, that was somebody's kid.
A lot of people seem to not understand me.
Science proves that the black woman is God. We're not just saying that.
And the black and Latino woman, they manifested themselves out of dark matter energy. All right.
I believe the black woman is God.
Black woman, God. I don't believe God, no man. I believe God, a black woman.
The black woman is God.
But my number one subject matter is the black woman is God. That's first and foremost.
Black woman is God.
The black woman is still God.
You're God, black woman.
The black woman is God. She is the creator. She is the sustainer. She is the provider. She is the first teacher of the children. She is everything to the black race.
But don't get it wrong. I am still a white man's whore.
The black woman is God because she created the white man. It is only through the black woman's womb could the white man actually pass through and begin to dominate this earth. The black woman is God because she created the white man. Only a God can create a devil. Only a God can create a devil, goddammit, is all I'm saying. The black woman is God because she created the white man. I don't think you fucking hearing me. I don't think you hearing me. How else? What else can you be if you create a white devil? Who else can you be but God? Who else has the power? Who else has the glory to create a white devil? None but a black woman. None but a black woman. Only through the sheer melanated technocratic glory of the black woman's godness can a devil be manifested through a womb such as that.
It was not without its side effects, as due to the eugenic hell that was their home, they had, as a result, gained a cold, callous, and vicious character, unlike the angelic, erudite, and peace-loving black folk of the Shabazz. Just like the brown race,
you will never, ever, ever, outside of Count Dankula, you will never, ever hear the phrase, what was it, eruditic, peace-loving black folk?
Old, callous, and vicious character, unlike the angelic, erudite, and peace-loving.
The angelic, erudite, and peace-loving black folk. You will never, ever, never, never, ever, ever, never fucking ever, ever, never, never, ever hear those words said honestly. The angelic, erudite, peace-loving black folk. Just any one of those words is difficult to imagine. But all three strung together and then black folk right behind it, bro, you're too kind. You're being so fucking generous.
Old, callous, and vicious character, unlike the angelic, erudite, and peace-loving black folk of the Shabazz. Just like the brown race, there were other failed variants of the program, like the yellow and red races, which you would think would be fairly self-explanatory for what they are, but apparently the yellow race isn't Asians, because they're black, believed to share a common ancestor with the Moors and, by extension, the 13 lunar tribes.
Yes, nigga. I don't think you understand me, but the original Shaolin monks were black. The original Asians were black, okay? We did all that ninja shit. We was doing all that karate shit. Niggas was the first emperor of China.
Wait, what? Rich, now what's our motto? We was kings. We was kings!
But enough of that side character malarkey. What of the whites? Well, some of the milkskins were self-aware enough to realise that they were demonic spawn without souls nor the touch of black divinity. As such, they themselves tried to return to blackness.
Royce, actually, we was the Anunnaki, but don't get ahead of me. Don't skip ahead. We was the Anunnaki. Stop telling niggas the plot. You're gonna ruin the show.
But because they were low IQ, backwards, and without an ounce of soul, they failed, transforming into what we now consider modern chimps, monkeys, and other such sub-simians. Those whites who did not go monkey mode and instead embraced their inner evil decided that their path was one of rape, plunder, and carnage, and as such, they went south to march on Mecca, to which they were immediately repelled by the Shabazi Praetorian Guard and subsequently deported en masse to a penned-off black site in modern Europe, under
White man tried to run down on us. We ran back on him. We ran down on them. You can't run down on me. I'll run down on you, white man. We ran them all the way back to the Caucasian Mountains, right? That's why we ran them back to the Caucasus Mountains, and that's why we call them Caucasians, because that's where you belong.
Perimeter watch from constant Shabazi patrols to keep these talcum tyrants at bay, and the civilized world.
The talcum tyrants. Oh, that's t-shirt material. Talcum tyrant. Who was that white boy that was supposed to fight Mike Tyson? Jake Paul? Jake Paul was supposed to fight Mike Tyson. He should come out with a talcum tyrant t-shirt on. I don't know if the fight's still going, but he should have come out. He did his intro with whatever, white boy summer music. He comes out in a talcum tyrant t-shirt with white boy summer in the background. Oh, that's bad. That'll be lit. It'll be like some WWE shit.
Safe. As such, the white man was forced to become introspective and dwell upon his original sin. In time, he devolved into a beast, even more feral than an animal, eating raw meat, hunting naked, and living in caves whilst whistling and finger painting with doo-doo. But you see, the black man has one glaring weakness. A weakness that would bring about their downfall.
It's chicken, isn't it? It's fucking chicken. I know it's chicken. He's going to say chicken. Because I don't think they had a lot of chicken in Arabia, right? I don't think chickens are native to Arabia. Like, chickens don't really like sand and desert and shit. They like grass where you can get worms and bugs and shit. He's going to say chicken. Oh, white women. You guys in the chat say white women. You're saying white women. That's actually that's actually a better guess than chicken. You know what? I take it back. That's actually a way better guess than chicken. What was I thinking? Chicken. They got goats and shit. They got goats and sheep and shit. They don't need chickens. You know how useful goats are to desert niggas? They don't need chickens. Now, a white woman, that's a whole hell of a step up from a fucking goat, I tell you. Who needs all these goats when you can get white women? Fucking chickens. That was dumb. No, you guys are right. You guys are smart tonight. You guys are actually smart. No, I thank you. That's kind, but maybe it was a good guess, but you guys had a better guess. White women. Yeah, that's the secret. That's the weakness. White women.
Their compassion and kindness.
Oh, no. Oh, fuck no. Stop. Come on, stop. No. I don't believe, no. I don't believe that. No. Compassion, fucking kindness. Compassion, kindness. Have you ever been to the projects?
These blacks.
As one black man by the name of Moses tried to civilize the chalk walkers, teaching them how to bathe, wear clothes, and season their food. But sadly, it was all for naught, as Moses quickly realized that these ashen abominations were anathema to civility. As such, he gathered 300 of the
ashen abominations. Yo, he's just cranking out the Caucasian slurs tonight. These are like some neo slurs right now. These are anti-white slurs from the future.
The most troublesome of whites and promptly liquidated them by luring them into a pit and throwing dynamite at them. We have had a wild time researching this video. However, this merely... As such, he gathered 300 of the most troublesome of whites and promptly liquidated them by luring them into a pit and throwing dynamite at them.
That was pretty hardcore. I'm not gonna lie. That's hard fucking core right there. That's a lot. That's kind of wild. All right. Props to you for that.
We have had a wild time researching this video. However, this merely delayed the inevitable, as Yaqub's high-end genetic encoding had started to manifest through epigenetic triggers, resulting in the white man's unholy ability in tricknology. Like an entire species' third eye opening all at once.
The white man's secret Caucasian hidden ability is tricknology. This is what we've termed it, right? They somehow have this uncanny ability to always deceive the black man. Don't try to deny it now, motherfucker. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. I will not let you squirm off the hook like that. You will not deny your tricknology in front of all these good folks. And no, you will not.
Dark enlightenment to eclipse the earth in pain and misery. What is tricknology? My, I'm very sorry. I forgot that the average prole isn't acclimated to discussing such abstract high concepts. Tricknology is a psychoneurological weapon ingrained in all beings that is used to lie, cheat, and steal from the well-meaning. It is a powerful tool that for most will wear away at them spiritually and physically.
You know what tricknology really sounds like? And you know, I'm gonna, how do I say this delicately? I'm gonna run that back just a few seconds here, because I do think tricknology may in fact have a real world basis. There's something that's like a real world corollary to tricknology. But dare I say it?
Weapon ingrained in all beings that is used to lie, cheat, and steal from the well-meaning. It is a powerful tool that for most will wear away at them spiritually and physically. Like Emperor Palestine when he shoots lightning out of his fingers at Mace Dindu. But
it almost sounds like Talmudism. I dare not. But anyway, shout out to tricknology. Y'all some tricky people. Just shout out to all the tricknologists out there.
For the white devils, they don't degrade like normal people, primarily due to the fact that they have no souls to degrade, meaning that they can use tricknology willy-nilly.
They have no souls, you say? Oh, shit. Yo, you know, my mind goes places it ought not go, bro. I tell you, my mind goes places that get me in trouble. And I need like a Berlin Wall between my brain and my mind, because it goes places that'll get me like it'll get me canceled. My mind wants me to my mind wants me to get canceled, and my mouth is like, hold on now, wait a minute. Before you do this, I need you to understand a couple of things that your mind is not so quick to understand.
Without fear of withering away into a mean raisin man. The white man used his penchant for technology to subsequently bring the world to its knees, taking advantage of black altruism to siphon resources into Europe, and in the process destabilizing the literal black markets.
Siphoning resources, wow. Sounds familiar.
Weaponizing said altruism alongside careful narrative control to instill black guilt.
Weaponizing altruism through narrative control to instill guilt? Ooh, this tricknology, I tell you.
and secure the white man as an oppressed yet valiant underdog that means no harm and is actually misunderstood, we promise. And then heartlessly plunging a dagger into the black man when his back was turned. And then...
You know, this is also why I can't do the traditional pro-blackism. My pro-blackness is more of an American, like, you know, we're a part of this country too kind of pro-blackness. It's not like let's go be, you know, separate, fuck the white people pro-black. Because I realize the technology that's happened, right? And being, you know, a student of the technologist, I understand that to follow the tricks of the technologist is to be tricked. You become a trick if you accept the tricks of the technologist, right? This is why I can't be a pro-black, because the pro-blacks are tricks, basically.
Without hesitation, enslaving the black race and in the process setting the world back billions of years. It was prophesied that the sons of Yaqub, praise be upon him, would reign over the earth for 6,000 years before the black man would retake his throne. That year officially came and went in 1914, and well, you know the rest from there. I'm just saying, Woodrow Wilson's hubris was prophesied. Now, obviously, a lot of this is quite well established and elementary, with this being the orthodox creation myth taught in most reputable white mud huts. But for the sake of thoroughness, I did need to cover it, as it's only with the widest possible lens that we can even attempt to see the truth for what it really is. Though you've probably noticed that in my retelling, it contained a lot more details than are in the textbooks.
Yeah, yes, a lot more details. And he's going to get even crazier. It's about to get even crazier. He's going to go to places I wasn't even expecting yet. Buckle up. Buckle up. It's going to get really black. It's going to get really mythological.
Oh, yeah. What happened to your sheriff? There is powerful niggardry at work here.
I am, after all, a scholar on this subject, and let's just say that I have special access to a wide range of archives and insights, most of which were revealed to me in an endocrine-fast-induced dream. But we'll get to that later. The point being, I absolutely promise that I am not throwing in some extra stuff that I completely made up because I think it's funny.
That's the good thing about Communitah mythology. You don't have to make up anything to be funny. It's actually easy to be funny when you're talking about Communitah mythology because it's already absurd on its face, right? All you have to do is laugh at the absurdity with your audience, right? It's very, very easy. And I like it that way. I don't want to have to work hard. I have a regular job. I don't want to work hard doing my other shit.
So now we must cover the fan fiction interpretation of the story from our Kangs of the Cosmos, the Nuwaubian Nation. The Nuwaubians are very simply the Mormons of the Nation of Islam.
I want you to consider this idea for a minute. The Mormons of the Nation of Islam. I don't even know, like in my mind, you know how like the Rorschach kind of test, like what do you see when you look at this? Or like one of those questions like, you know, I say these words and what do you imagine? What's the first thing pop in your head? I really don't know how to visualize the Mormons of the Nation of Islam. Like I have no clue what that means, bro. I have nowhere to place this. There's nothing in my mind that I can like latch on to kind of craft a visual reality of this idea. What the fuck are the Mormons of the Nation of Islam? I have no idea where I'm supposed to go with this thought. There's nothing I can do with these words. Like, and even in my mind, it's like an impossibility. Like, I'm trying to string 3 words together that are as like incongruent, that are as discombobulated as the Mormons of Nation of Islam. Like I just like my mind starts to stutter when I try to put the words into an image in my mind.
being cookie characters who took a perfectly rational and obvious truth and twisted it into an absurd parody worth nothing more than an ironic and overly edited fan cam. Without wasting my, and by extension, your time by telling you the detailed history of their stupid little clique, all you need to know is that it goes back to the Egyptian-Ottoman War of 1839, with
The Egyptian-Ottoman War? Is that a real war, or is that some shit niggas just talk about? The Egyptian-Ottoman War? Okay, I'll assume they really fought. And shout out to Acadia, by the way. Shout out to Acadia for supporting the show with the $5 Cash App. Thank y'all so much for listening. Like the video as you make your way into the room, and do like, share, and subscribe, and also support the show. Hit that Cash App button. Thank you so much, Acadia.
I need that money.
And then also shout out to Damon with the $20 Cash App. Like, share, and subscribe, and also be like Damon, y'all. Smash that Cash App button for me, y'all. We getting deep into Yakubian history. Smash that Cash App button.
Hulk! Smash! Smash you! You make Hulk angry. You not like Hulk angry. Hulk no like fighting girls.
The Nation of Islam loyalists being the Ottomans and the Nawabian separatists being the Egyptians, and that the founder of this sect, Dwight D. York, was convicted for several counts of child molestation and tax fraud. According to the...
Why is that like always the story of every black sect leader? It's tax fraud, child molestation, or some kind of weapons charges. Every black leader, everyone, that's how they all go down. It's tax fraud, child molestation, and weapons charges. It's like the holy trinity of pro-blackness right there.
This completely unserious splinter group, the first black people were in fact not from the moon. I know, what absolute idiots. But they were instead a race of deities from an entirely separate galaxy. They were
a race of deities from an entirely separate... All right, so yeah, remember in the beginning of the show, he was saying, so 66 trillion years ago, it was niggas on the moon, right? And so this is black sect. This is apparently part of the civil war they had with this other black sect, right? You know, before the child molestation charges and shit and the tax fraud. Apparently, they broke down into fisticuffs and shit. And I imagine one of the reasons was, you know, disbelief in these core existential issues.
Were apparently called Rizikians from the planet Risk, and they orbited a tri-solar...
Whoa, let's go back a little bit.
Completely unserious splinter group, the first black people were in fact not from the moon, or of 1839, with the Nation of Islam loyalists being the Ottomans and the Nawabian separatists being the Egyptians, and that the founder of this sect, Dwight D. York, was convicted for several counts of child molestation and tax fraud. According to this completely unserious splinter group, the first black people were in fact not from the moon.
All right, so the first black people not from the moon, all right? Keep up, y'all, all right? This is complicated, I know. Some of you guys should be taking notes.
I know, what absolute idiots. But they were instead a race of deities from an entirely separate galaxy. They were apparently called Rizikians from the planet Risk, and they orbited a tri-solar system, that means 3 suns orbiting each other, and their capital was a mammoth starship known as the Nibiru.
Whoa. You know what? I think I heard of these dudes. I think I heard of this. This is actually something else. I know these niggas. I know who they are. I know this story.
This is a movie about the gay niggers from outer space.
Niggas can be gay too.
The gay niggers come from the planet Anus.
I know this story.
Despite being literal gods, they were still vassals to an even more supreme being, who I would assume is Allah because, of course. So how and why did these cosmic kangs fall from the heavens down to our little clump of dirt and shit that we call Earth? Well, that is a doozy, because you see, due to the nature of the three suns trinary system, basking heat, light, and other such shite over their original homeworld, it would be a somewhat non-ideal place to live, if not for its atmosphere. Kind of like the situation on our planet, but multiplied by 3, because that is how math works. But anyways, Allah was having a beat.
I don't hate Black Jesus. I don't hate Black Jesus, all right? We learning about Black Space Allah right now. Black Jesus ain't got nothing on Black Space Allah. All right? We are learning about Black Space Allah right now. It's a whole different thing. This is way higher level than Black Jesus, all right? I don't even know why you even bring Black Jesus up. Ain't nobody talking about that, nigga.
Beef with another god called Shaitan on the planet, with Allah requesting that he vacate the planet for probably being an uppity and fly motherfucker. Simply put, Shaitan refused and started having a shit fit, resulting in a scrap breaking out between the two deities and an explosion akin to a hydrogen bomb going off that was strong enough to make the planet's atmosphere evaporate.
So these like space nigga gods, they had like a Super Saiyan fight. You ever watch Dragon Ball Z and like every now and then a planet or something gets blown up? It was like that, but like space nigga gods and shit. It was like melanin god niggas, but in space though. So it was like, all right, melanin god niggas had a melanin god space battle, and there was like planets and stuff close by, and they set off like a melanin god nigga space battle nuclear bomb. It was like a Kamehameha spirit bomb type of thing, right? And then like, you know, shit got really fucked up is all I'm saying. Because when melanin and space god niggas be fighting, it's like some cosmic apocalyptic type scenario. Like think about like they're like the Celestials in Marvel Comics, but you know, niggas.
So, not good. Though, of course, in time, the Rizikians were able to concoct a plan to repair their homeworld's atmosphere. Gold. They boarded the Nibiru and they scoured space for gold, resulting in their coming across our mineral-rich and settlable little rock.
Why do these gay space niggas sound like the Anunnaki, bro? Why does this gay space nigga's OG story sound like the Anunnaki? Who's that dude? What was that dude Sitchin? What's his name? Was it Alexander Sitchin or whatever? Yeah, Nick Biru and all that. Bro, niggas always be stealing some shit, bro. This is why you can't trust niggas. Niggas be stealing shit, man.
I'm telling you, man. This the reason why I be hating niggas, man. I'm telling you, man. It just be us. I be hating niggas, man.
So maybe we didn't steal it. Let me take that back. We didn't steal it. We was Anunnakis and shit. Yeah. That's how that go. Niggas ain't steal nothing. Let me take that back. This is what I get for doubting niggas. Let me stop hating. Let me stop hating on niggas. I don't know what came over me. That was a weird moment of haterism, y'all. Forgive me. Forgive me my weird moment of haterism. I know niggas ain't still that. Niggas was not. We was Anunnakis and shit, bro. White man don't want you to know that. White man don't want you to hear these truths. It was Zachariah Sitchin. Thank you. White man don't want you to know. Zachariah ain't tell you niggas was Anunnakis and shit. He had you thinking they was some big-headed, pale motherfuckers. No. They was melanated Afro niggas. They was melanated space niggas with afros.
Of course, they were deities, mind you. They weren't just going to do a hard day's work and extract the minerals themselves. That would be demeaning and well below their station. As such, they genetically modified the genome of the Homo erectus and created a labouring slave race to mine the gold for them. These mongrel cavern dwellers were, as you may intuit, the progenitors of modern humanity. But with some caveats. For example, due to the fact that these homos were genetically modified using the Rizikians' own genetics to splice and interweave with theirs, as a result, they naturally all became black and had psychic powers. But the thing is, though, giving
See, this is like a whole different version of the whole creation story. So it's like space niggas came down and tried to make slaves or tried to make some kind of hybrids out of the cave people who was like the original white people and somehow made black people?
Melanated proto-Grug's telekinesis will result in an already violent offshoot of mammal becoming an even bigger problem than usual. One that can float and crush elephants' heads with their obtuse and wrinkly melon minds. This is not exactly an ideal activity for your mongrel race of untouchable chimps to partake in. As such, after Cain murdered Abel, the Rizikians decided that enough was enough and calcified their pineal glands en masse, which we all know is the source of humanity's latent psionic abilities.
All right, so the space niggas closed y'all third eye. Space niggas is the reason you ain't got no third eye. Because y'all was wilding. Y'all was wilding. Y'all wasn't ready for third eye capabilities. Y'all was doing crazy shit. Making weird combinations. Man, bear, pigs, and shit like that.
Shut up, yes, you do know exactly what I mean. Do not try and play dumb. My third eye sees right through your shite, you contrarian non-believer. However, due to the fractal nature of humanity, certain tribes managed to evade the wrath of the angels, and as such, diverged into their own sub-races, just like in Elder Scrolls, including one tribe called the Shayug. These beings were one of the last remnants of psycho-homos, being easily identifiable with their mighty stature, averaging...
I told you, he was going to get in some... This is mythology I don't even know about. I haven't even watched the rest of part of this video yet. We are all... There's no brakes on this ride. I have no idea what he's going to bring up next, but he's getting deeper into Communitah mythology than I've ever gotten into. I'm taking him at his word for it because, like he said, he swears to God he's not making up any of this just for the sake of being funny.
Around 7 to 9 feet tall, and the fact that they have engorged coffee bean heads that housed a dual array of brains. And the only reason that they managed to escape the Rizikian rapture was the fact that they dwelled in caverns outside of, you guessed it, Mecca. And yes, you assumed correctly, Yaqub is indeed a Shayug, according to the Nuwab, not a Shabazz. So he was blessed with 2 normal-sized brains as opposed to a comically large singular one. Thus,
what are 2 normal-sized brains even? Like, in this type of world, I need something to compare it to. Because you got motherfuckers with giant heads and 2 brains already. What's a normal-sized brain? I'm lost now. It's like listening to a story from another planet.
It is no surprise that such actions by the Cecil Quisha Rhodes Johnsons in the sky doing their mass psychic sterilization presumably caused Yaqub to have a bit of a chip in his shoulder, not even taking into account the expulsion to Agartha. As such, he utilized his grand intellect to gene splice a...
We went to Agartha? That's like the fucking middle of the... That's the center of the earth. We went to Agartha. It's niggas in the center of the earth? It's niggas in the center of the earth. It's niggas at the center of the motherfucking earth. I feel like that dude in Django, Who's that nigga up on that nag? Like, I feel like what's his name in Django right now? Like, what's the niggas doing in the center of the earth? That is not supposed to be a thing. You nigga, get your ass from off there. You don't belong up there. Get your ass down from off that nag, nigga. Like, what you doing in the center of the earth? Get your ass out of there. The hell is this shit?
Bioweapon into existence. A weapon to unleash upon the Rizikians. A weapon to surpass Metal Gear. The White Man. Apparently, upon completing his weapons program, Yakub had a bit of an Oppenheimer moment, being so taken aback by the horrors of his craftsmanship and being so violently racked with regret and guilt that one of his two brains had a Flickergoon-esque brain aneurysm and exploded, resulting in his death. Now, I can't believe I have to say this, but almost none of that was real. The vast majority of the Nuwabian chapter is nothing more than an exercise in the creativity of a bored and jaded non-believer who merely wants to see how much shit he can get away with making up before people catch on to his devilish schemes and plots.
See, the Nuwabians. I knew the Nuwabians was on some bullshit. He just said it. It was all bullshit. I knew the Nuwabians was some fake motherfuckers.
This is a movie about the gay niggers from outer space.
Niggas can be gay too.
The gay niggers come from the planet Anus.
This was a true exercise in technology, and obviously the original orthodox version is the one that we like and the one that is 100% real. Despite this, either through genuine insights or just complete coincidence, they did indeed manage to include some truths that were even omitted from the standard national doctrine. Either way, the Nuwabs are not to be taken seriously, regardless of their lucky strikes. Now, at this point in the video, I'll start giving my 2 cents on our creator's origin story. And if I were your standard talcaloid pastewog, I would either be one of those gimps that would outright deny the infallibility of Yakub Peace.
A talcaloid pastewab. Listen, these are anti-white slurs from the future, all right? You should write these down and be ready. Yeah, see, one of you guys is already hip. You know. J.H. Marvelous knows. He's ready. He's going to be prepared. He's going to be hip when the time comes. A talcaloid pastewab. Talcum tyrants.
Be upon him, or waffle on about how the truth is somewhere in between these two interpretations. Ooh, the accounts are all conjecture and biased. We need to read between the line of Renos. I'm very smart and rational. Shut the fuck up, you slobbering Reddit filth. Get off of that fucking fence and actually commit to reality. Either open all 3 of your eyes and accept the infallible truth, or shut the fuck up and keep living in cuckoo fantasy land where you can reason your way through life and where society is completely honest and forthcoming with information. Venom aside, I've not only read the studies, I wrote half of them as well, to the point that even the orthodoxy of the Nation of Islam starts seething at me. Case in point, Tariq Nasheed.
Shit. I didn't know. He got beef with Tariq Nasheed. Why does the count have beef with Tariq Nasheed? I had no idea this was even a thing. I should have added Tariq Nasheed just for the fun of it. I didn't even know this was about to turn into an anti-Tariq Nasheed video. I wasn't prepared for an anti-Tariq Nasheed video. I wasn't. I was totally unprepared for this, all right? We're just going to have to go in. We're just going to have to go in blind. All right, cover me, y'all. I'm going in.
Me and Tariq Nasheed were actually arguing on Twitter a long time ago, and he told me that the original true Scottish people were an ancient race of black pygmy dwarves. I called him a fucking card, and he blocked me. He is a non-believer and not to be trusted, but that's enough ranting. So let's get on to the main appeal and start from, well, the start. Buckle in, boys. This is a doozy, and remember, All of this is completely real. I promise. 200 million years ago, there was nothing. Until a higher dimensional gestalt entity known to us today as Allah decided to utilize extreme neurophysics to seed the known universe with life, creating our solar system and placing within it the 13 tribes of Al-Lunas on what we would now call the moon. Why 13? Well, you wouldn't get it. But all I will say is that it vaguely relates to esoteric geometry, psychonumerism, and Gnosticism, a la the Hounds of Tindalos.
What the hell is psychonumerism? I'm lost. I'm so lost. Psychonumerism. Is this some other black mythology? This is Communitah mythology I don't know about. Niggas got magical numbers and shit.
I mean, obviously. Al-Lunas, an idyllic paradise world shepherded by the dominant and divinely ordained Shabazz dynasty, being the tribe with the highest concentration of Vril, they were, of course, black and had mighty strong psychic fields, being able to...
Niggas got Vril. Bro, niggas got Vril and shit. Bro, I ain't even know we had you don't see niggas don't even know what Vril is right now. If you walk up to the average nigga on the average just go to any Martin Luther King Boulevard or any Malcolm X Boulevard and you just ask a nigga what Vril is, he gonna try to sell you some crack. Niggas don't know what Vril is, bro. Niggas got that Vril. That's ill. I didn't even know. That's dope, bro. I feel so proud watching this.
Float and peel fruit with their mind. But of course, there was one thing that most of them lacked that would only be gained through fire and suffering. Humility. As one of the Shabazz, a young gendarme by the name of Yeshua, aspired to be more than a mere psychic immortal, melanated demigod. He wished to be like Allah. As in, all of that stuff minus the demi part. As such, he gathered the strongest of the 13 tribes, who by this point were in a perennial ennui due to the boredom and decadence of infinite bliss. Because
is this like Black Space Nigga Moses? Because I ain't gonna lie, this whole Yakubian story, as told by Count Dankula, it's a little bit confusing. It's like, so far, this is like at least the third version of it now. So, Black Space Nigga Moses, right? Or is it Black Space? No, because Jesus didn't gather the 13 tribes. That was kind of like a Moses thing. But he was like a space nigga, though. And he was black, so he's Black Space Nigga Moses, right? I'm confused.
Their mind. But of course, there was one thing that most of them lacked that would only be gained through fire and suffering. Humility. As one of the Shabazz, a young gendarme by the name of Yeshua, aspired to be more than a mere psychic immortal.
That is supposed to be Black Jesus, nigga. All right, Black Space Jesus. All right. Why Black Space Jesus look kind of creepy. I don't like the way you drew him, Dankula. You were supposed to make him like, warm and welcoming and shit.
Demigod. He wished to be like Allah. As in, all of that stuff minus the demi part. As such, he gathered the strongest of the 13 tribes, who by this point were in a perennial ennui due to the boredom and decadence of infinite bliss. Because, as it turns out, paradise is boring. He brought them to a secluded mountain and constructed a mighty space elevator to escape the gravity well of the moon, in an attempt to commune with and become equals with Allah, and perhaps kill him if he pipes up and objects.
Damn, I was muted. But I'm back. No, the thing is, right? It seems like part of me wants to disbelieve and just say that you're making this up totally from scratch, right? Shut up, JH. I use my black technology appropriately. Part of me wants to disbelieve and just think that Dankula is making these stories up from scratch, right? But then there's a part of me that knows these stories to like be true. And let me not say true, that's not the right word. These stories exist in the minds of certain black people, right? They are weird, deep Negro mythology tales that if you orbit the right, people, if you inhabit the right circles, you'll come across these tales, right? Like when I was in high school, I remember a friend of mine I had way back then. He was like, I don't know, like in some 5% type of thing. And he was telling me the story of the black guy that went to the moon. And I was, I was young. I was in high school. I wasn't as sophisticated enough as I am now. I didn't ask the type of questions I would ask now. I was just like, yeah, whatever, cool story type shit. But I didn't probe it. I didn't question it as much. I just listened to it and was, whatever with it. But I remember him trying to tell me some story about some, the first black guy to go to a moon. White people wasn't the first people on the moon was the basic gist of it. There was this one black guy, way back when, before, modern history or whatever, before regular history. It was shit like that. And I was like, yeah, cool story, bro. But again, I want to think he's making it up, but he's probably not.
Of course, this plan wasn't exactly popular, with the loyal, virtuous, and big-decked Al-Lunicites finding out about the Yeshuan's plan and being so disgusted by the idea of disturbing the demiurge's beauty sleep that they besieged the tower and engaged the traitorous goons all across the planet. This is a cascade of events that became known as the Al-Lunisari Cosmokrieg. This conflict was very costly, with the war centering around the siege of Babylon space elevator, which conservative estimates have lasting around 650 years, though eventually the defenses did crack. Babylon fell when a breakthrough was achieved by the current de facto leader of the Al-Lunasari loyalists named Muhammad.
Why does this sound like an episode of Babylon 5 or some shit? This shit just got extra sci-fi. I'm not comfortable with niggas in spaceships. I just want to put that out there. This part of me is just very uncomfortable with niggas in spaceships. I remember a while ago, Chaotic Truth, he had said something about like black people having warp drive before our time. It's like giving Klingons warp drive, and now the Klingons just terrorize the universe. He was referring to black people in that way, and ever since then, I'm like, yeah, niggas we're not ready for spaceships.
Of prophetic fame, he broke through the defenses of the tower by utilizing his exceptionally strong psychic fields to imitate active camouflage akin to Halo Elite. He managed to secure the choke point at Theodosia and unlock its gate. Following a further 23 years, slowly fighting up the elevator inch by inch, he finally had a standoff with the corrupted and power-hungry Yeshua. Upon engaging in a game of fisticuffs, Yeshua, in his infinite cowardice, fled the scene via VTOL, though his escape was cut short when he was shot down by a flak cannon. Though in the end, he had the last laugh, as he not only survived the crash, but managed to escape the clutches of the loyalist kill team and make it off-world. How he managed to do this is up to interpretation, taking his gallimaufry of surviving acolytes with him, fleeing to Earth. However, due to the haphazard nature of their escape, they crash-landed in what was at the time Laurasia, in the Pangaean supercontinent. Whilst the Yeshuan exiles were covering their tracks and retreating to the vast...
Hold up. Because he be talking fast with that Scottish accent. You got to slow down every now and then and just take it in. Just breathe it in. We was Pangean Kangs, my nigga. We were Pangean Kangs. This is why I listen to the white man. All right, because he be knowing shit. The white man knows things about me that I don't even know.
You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil? Where the hell is that? Come on, you teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
What was at the time Laurasia in the Pangean supercontinent.
Yes, nigga. We was Pangean Kangs. You better put some respect on my shit, nigga. Ain't none of you niggas was a Pangean Kang. Only black people. We were Pangean Kangs.
Wait, what? Rich, now what's our motto? We was Kangs. We was Kangs!
Whilst the Yeshuan exiles were covering their tracks and retreating to the vast cave networks beneath Laurasia, those left behind on the moon were being massacred by the Al-Lunicites en masse. Though not before initiating a self-destruct sequence on the Babylon space elevator, setting off explosives at the base of the tower with an estimated yield of 450 megatons.
You think people would watch like a space opera type movie if it was nothing but black people in it? Like Star Wars or something, but it was only black people. And I don't mean like niggas. I mean, refined, like English black people, not just, niggas from America. Like Idris Elba type black people. Do you think people would watch a movie like that? Black people with Shakespearean acting credentials and shit. Some kind of space opera, Negrometer 3125 or something.
Or, in normal terms, 4 times the strength of the Tsar bomber, which, alongside atomizing the elevator, completely burst the planetoid's atmosphere and nullified the moon's rotational axis, wiping out all life on it and tidally locking it to the Earth.
All right, you know what, Red Illusion? Fuck you, and everybody you love, Red Illusion, said a bunch of Lando Calrissians. That's not what I was talking about, goddammit. That's not what this is about. A bunch of Lando Calrissians. You trying to sell malt liquor, motherfucker?
Earth, thus leaving it as the lifeless husk that we know today. The former site of the Babylon space elevator can be seen today as the Shackleton crater, with the dust and debris from the blast being kicked up into the orbit of the Earth in mighty plumes, eventually scattering into the planet's atmosphere, blotting out the sun and resulting in the extinction of the dinosaurs. Of course, almost everyone present during the fall of Al-Lunis was obliterated.
Yo, did niggas blow up the dinosaurs too? Bro, we got so much on our resume right now. We was Kangs. We built pyramids. We blew up dinosaurs, bro. This is like better than Black History Month.
But that's the thing. Almost everyone, and I'm not just talking about the Yeshuans. Muhammad managed to get off-world alongside the remnants of the Lunar 13. As such, when they touched down on Earth, they had consolidated into a new tribe.
Not Return of the Jedi, no. See, you up on the slang, bro. They not up on jits yet. I don't even be saying that. I just caught on to that recently. They not up on jits yet. Return of the Jedi. Oh nah. See, we gotta make the black space opera. That's what we need. We need a serious black space opera with like nigga monsters, nigga space obstacles and shit. It's a black hole, but really it's just like the face of a nigga named Clarence. He's just sucking. He's a fat nigga too. He's just sucking everything in. Like, we need a whole nigga space opera. Never mind. We're not even gonna make it an erudite Shakespearean thing. It's just gonna be jits in deep space, bro.
the Mohammedans, setting up a forward operating base in Gondwanaland. Though, with their numbers so heavily depleted and with scant little in terms of supplies and the encroachment of an ice age, they had to go native, essentially playing Minecraft IRL. Settling in what we would know today as the Halib Triangle, the now 800-year-old Muhammad established Kemet, expanding their borders and settling most of the modern Arab world with the first humans, who were all black, by the way. Fast forwarding millions of years, with Kemet expanding out across Africa and the Middle East, unopposed and entering an eons-long golden age.
Niggas just skip through millions of years of Kemetic history like nothing dope happened for millions of years. Niggas was just on the couch chilling like Al Bundy with their hands in their nuts and shit.
However, when a Kemetic pioneering outfit comes across an anomaly at the Bosphorus Strait, their days of peace and tranquility were numbered. Remember how I said that the
We was all just chilling. And then these new niggas showed up out of nowhere. For millions of years, we was just chilling in ancient Kemet. Just chilling like a motherfucker. We was on the porch every day, just 40 ounces and blunts every day. It was all good. It was all good just a week ago. And there's these new niggas just show up out of nowhere on some bullshit.
Yeshuans crash landed and hid underground in caves. Well, they had gotten up to some shenanigans in the few million years since we last saw them. And that was a very, very long time. I mean, the continents had all now formed and shit. But we'll ignore all of that for the sake of narrative storytelling. Yeshua led his rebels underground after crash landing in modern-day Scotian, Slovenia, where the impact of the ship hitting the ground carved out a mighty hole into the earth that became the famed cave network. Upon settling in the newly created underground network, he immediately established a tyrannical dictatorship.
Yo, we was underground. We was subterranean niggas. We was Agarthans and we was subterranean cave network niggas, bro. We ruled this whole thing. You white people are lucky y'all even got a chance to do something for a little while, because niggas had this on smash, bro. We had the seas, we had the space, we had the cave networks, we had the subterranean, we had the underground center of the earth Agarthan niggas. We was everywhere.
Rounding up all the remaining women present and taking them as his wives. He then proceeded to take the weakest of his men and enslave them, buck-breaking them repeatedly to make them docile and to steal their psychic powers. Yes, I'm being serious. He actually did that. Source? Me. I'm the source. I wrote the fucking book in this field. All of that aside, he spent the next few thousand years ruling his subterranean hellscape with an iron fist. Though a problem was quickly presenting itself. Yeshua was getting older, aging quicker due to his soul eroding with every evil deed that he chose to partake in. Indeed, he needed a successor. So, he got to work. He went through a routine of knocking up one of his many wives, having a child be born, and then liquidating the child via Gauss cannon for desirable traits like cunning, deception, intellect, and guile, as well as yodeling capabilities, because yodeling at the right frequency actually causes extreme distress to black people.
Is this like another white people creation story? There's a lot of different mythology in this episode tonight.
Alongside harvesting stem cells to slow down aging. He then proceeded to inject said traits into the next iteration of the birth cycle via advanced gene modding and eugenics. He killed the ugly ones. Repeat this novel process over thousands of generations and you have what records, me, call the Shaitan program. This, paired with the dead wives and cucked and bucked slaves having their synapses harvested to be pulled and wired into a biological supercomputer to help record keep, administrate, and stroke his ego, results in a really big fucking problem developing. By the time Yeshua was on his deathbed at 451,000 years young, all that remained of his rebellion was two people. And you know, the massive interwoven and super-cooled tumor tower inside the underground lake, which consisted of himself and one more slave who was with child.
I swear to God, I feel like he's freestyling. This is the problem with this Communitah mythology shit. All the stuff that's technically true in terms of like what people say they believe, it sounds so absurd that if you start freestyling at any point, people don't know that you started going off beat. They just be like, yeah, that's probably true too. The niggas believe that. I heard a nigga say that type of thing one time. Like, it sounds so ridiculous. Niggas probably do believe it.
On going into labour, the mother went inside the conveniently human-sized USB port in the supercomputer and entered the body horror HAL 9000 for liquidation and processing. Yeshua exerted the last of his strength to follow suit inside, at which he succeeded in getting subsumed by the mass, after which Shaitan went into incubation for a few million years before finally completing its computations just months before our Kemetic pioneers, the massive brain shrank and receded, settling in the skull of a fully formed man's body. Too large to be housed in a standard skull, it needed to bulge out, like a shitty Dell Office computer that just got a 2K graphics card stuck inside of it. It is now at long last that we witness the birth of Yaqub, praise be upon him, absorbing and assimilating the memories, personalities, and grudges of the millions of minds fed into his synaptic stew. So, to the surprise of absolutely no one, he had a bit of a chip on his shoulder when it came to the old enemies of Al Lunis.
So Yaqub was like some kind of genetically modified test tube nigga. I haven't heard this version of Yaqub yet.
But to once more wage war on Muhammad, who he assumed would be dead by now, but having an IQ of 1,600, he planned accordingly, he needed an army. So he collected the leftover hollowed out corpses and he got to work. And now we come back to the Communitah, who were at the Bosphorus Strait. And what did they find? Well, they found a mass grave, which might not seem that earth-shattering if not for the fact that they were meant to be the only humans on the planet. So, you know, that was a bit of a big revelation. And the bodies they found didn't look right. They were yellow. Indeed, they had just come across the first failed models of Asians, who were being field tested in the Aegean Sea to try and optimize their buoyancy and stress test their durability against contemporary ballistics. Spoiler alert, this generation wasn't adequately amphibious or bulletproof, so they got put against the wall, shot, and then dumped in a pit. The Communitah then very quickly became aware of the presence of abhuman monsters to the north, and as
All right, so it sounds like we had this weird breeding process going on. And, you know, we spit out some Asians accidentally. Some of them probably got loose. They started doing kung fu in the Asian jungles, practicing with bamboo and shit like that.
As such, set up a DMZ on the Bosphorus and started doing armed expeditions into what we call Eurasia, establishing a great wall going up the Don River and settling the east with fortress cities stretching across Siberia. So what's the deal with the Asians in the Aegean? Well, Yaqub, upon him, was trying to create an army of psionically voided slaves capable of combating the Mohammedan offshoots.
Hold on. He said niggas built a great wall, right? He did just say niggas built a great wall. I know niggas built the Great Wall because it's facing the wrong way. The Chinese people didn't build that. We built that.
up the Don River and settling the east with fortress cities stretching across Siberia. So what's the deal with the Asians in the Aegean? Well, Yakub, praise be upon him, was trying to create an army of psionically voided slaves capable of combating the Mohammedan offshoots by being walking and talking psychic dampeners, which is a force multiplier big enough to actually put the malformed savages on equal footing with Kemet. You see, Yakub was harvesting genetic data off of the remains of his former slaves to use as blueprints for the slave army. The issue, however, is that these bones were millions of years old by this point, and as such, they were faulty and incomplete. As such, he filled in the gaps of the genome with limescale, thus producing the off-peach hue, bugman behavior, ravenous hunger that is iconic to the Asian race that we all know and sort of love. An interesting side effect, however, is that the limescale calcified their pineal glands, making them physically incapable of spirituality, and therefore locking them out of enlightenment for eternity. The Asians coped subconsciously by adopting beliefs about reincarnation. These Asians were cast off in waves eastwards and southwards in hordes.
So Asians is basically light-skinned niggas that niggas ain't really like anyway. Sounds weirdly racist. So basically, black people created racism from this whole story, from all the versions of this story. One thing seems to be true. It's said without saying it, but black people, we created racism
to settle the unclaimed land and destabilize the already settled Kemetic frontiers, who by this point were wholly unprepared for a multi-continent guerrilla war that saw the sacking and razing of multiple black tributary kingdoms in Siberia and Central Asia, in the ashes of which the Asian invaders settled and imitated them, thus spawning the first primitive Asian kingdoms, shamelessly stealing black customs and traditions.
Yeah, shout out to David. Apparently, Dankula, he knows bits of the Negro Empire that you speak of, David, all right? You got a little bit of reference from Dankula, all right? He didn't say the Negro Empire, but apparently this is an empire of Negroes.
As their own. In time, the eminent tribes of Asiatic usurpers would come to be known as the Banguk and the Fingolic Khaganate, rising out of their hovels of dung and refuse into a crude mockery of a real civilization. But their story is for another day. See the Fenno-Korean Hyperwar. Though a useful stopgap, the Asiatic model wasn't the ideal fighting force for breaking the Kemetic yoke, as their incomplete genome made them susceptible to finessing.
I remember I used to hear Nas talk about shit like the Asiatic black man, and I didn't really understand what he was talking about. Now I got an idea.
A traditional logic game played by Al-Lunasai youths and continued in their descendants. Thus, there was constant experimentation and prototyping done in Yakub's, praise be upon him, compound, which at this point had to be moved from Scotian to a massive citadel in the area now known as Paris. It was here in this black site that he coined a smorgasbord of methods to supplement the Asian invasion, like a retrofitted offshoot that reincorporated some reverse-engineered black traits into the Asian platform, resulting in the Red Race, a modernized and retrofitted Asian offshoot. Yakub utilized the...
Yeah, we made Native Americans and shit. We made you Cherokees. We wasn't, it's not that we was the Cherokees, we made you the Cherokees.
The Asian genome to create a demyelination bomb that would be dropped over Kemetic cities. The result was widespread pineal calcification and melanicide. The survivors of this terror bombing were...
He said melanicide? That sounds awful. Did you murder the melanin in people? Melanicide? What the hell? A melanicide?
were being mistaken for Asians and as such were being shot on sight by panicked Kemetic gendarmes. Fleeing across the ruins of the Indian subcontinent and the Middle East, their descendants within time became the brown race. It was only when a chance encounter with a local fungus that Yaqub, peace be upon him, finally had the breakthrough he desperately needed. As when he noticed this strain of mysterious mushrooms growing on a dead Asian, he noticed that psionic fields were being generated around it, whilst maintaining the psychic dampening effect present in the Oriental troops. This complete accident resulted in the creation of the Shaitan 2 program, prototyping a model of Asian that had its pineal gland cut out entirely and a chunk of fungus X slotted in its place. The result of this was the creation of the Neanderthal, whose fungal implant resulted in aberrant and unexplainable behavior that would carry on today in the form of autism and other such forms of lateral thinking.
He's talking about the white man, y'all. We finally made it to the birth of the white man. Y'all got fungus where your pineal gland should be. He just ripped the whole gland out and put some kind of ancient cave fungus in there, and boom, Caucasians.
The Neanderthal was brought in as an officer class to lead the Asians in strategic maneuvers. Despite initial successes, their social malformations and lack of insight into finessing resulted in their eventual failures in the first Levantine campaign. This enraged Yaqub, peace be upon him, who decided to abduct Kemetic officers, buck-break them, and splice their genetics with surviving Neanderthals, resulting in the Shaitan 3 program, or, as you may guess, the creation of the white race. The first generation of white devils were numbered at 6. These cave beasts were unlike anything seen before on the earth, with bone-white skin and protruding noses. These Mayo macaques were personally reared and raised.
Mayo macaques, y'all. Mayo macaques. Some anti-white slurs from the future. I don't know how he has access to all of this forbidden future knowledge, but you guys don't understand. You're being blessed right now.
By Yaqub in his Patmos citadel as the ultimate soldiers, giving special attention to the art of finessing, which he modified to remove all the gallantry and fairness from to create a crueler variant focused on deceit that we now know as tricknology. These founding 6 whites were then given 110 clones of themselves and told to spread and consolidate themselves across the world.
Can you imagine what it would be like to sit down and have a conversation with the 6 OG whites? Just think about all the deep cosmic Caucasian wisdom you would just be next to. Like, you couldn't even take it all in, because first of all, there's 6 of them and there's just one of you. You got your regular, like, normal people, non-OG white brain, right? And you're just sitting there in this room. It's probably called Valhalla, and you're just sitting there in Valhalla, like, with all the OG whites, just learning all the wisdom of whiteness. It's probably like old guys with long white flowing beards and shit. They don't even have like a crown, like no gold medal, like no jewels and gems and gold and none of that. No. It's like that. What's that little thing that the Romans wear? That little leaf crown thing. It's like those things. One guy has a pipe. There's a big fire in the middle of the room. The Gandalfs, right? The OG whites. It does sound like something. A laurel. Thank you, Acadia. A laurel, yeah. They don't even have crowns. They just have laurels on, smoking a pipe, long white robes, and like a golden rope tied around the waist to keep the robe together. staring into an orb. Yeah, yeah. Orbs all around. There's just so many orbs, y'all. Just so many orbs. You can't imagine there's orbs. There's orbs that just look at other orbs. There's orbs about the past. There's orbs about the future. There's orbs that can see all the futures unseen. Just so many orbs, y'all. Oh my God. I'm imagining the hall of the OG whites now. It's like a story. It's like a daydream from the Lord of the Rings universe.
To forever hold down, break, and antagonize the black man wherever he may be. As such, the war raged on, with the white man establishing a heartland in Europe and waging an efficient war against the battered and beleaguered Communitah. Now, why was Kemet getting trashed so badly? Well, you see, they were honourable and loving, creating all culture and all science in existence. They were not capable of the infinite cruelty that the aberrant folk were. As such, they weren't capable of truly eradicating them. Concession after concession befell Kemet, being pushed out of the Middle East into Africa by the displaced brown man, fleeing the roving cannibal gangs of whites and Neanderthals. Eventually, the whites struck a death blow to Kemet when they torched the Black Library of Alexandria.
Alexandria. All right? Don't get it fucked up as Alexandria is some nigga named Alexander. No. It was Alexandria, all right? His name was Al. His family name was Exandria. And he was, he had a knowledge. It wasn't a knowledge, no. He had a library rather, and it was built by the Exandria family, right? This is a library compiled over, pretty much eons at this point. It was a library compiled of eons and eons of wisdom gathered by the Exandria family. And it was destroyed by you savage Caucasian monsters, you.
And managed to torch over 700 million years of black history, technology, and literature, with whatever remained being stolen and appropriated by the aberrant hordes. Muhammad, now a jaded and aged old man, wisely concluded with a heavy heart that Kemet had fallen, and that indeed billions have and will die. As such, he relocated the nucleus of the nation from the Red Sea, leaving the major hubs of Cairo, Mecca, and Sana'a, instead rallying the surviving remnants of humanity in modern-day Katanga in the Congo. However, due to disease, bioweapons, and leadership struggles, the Kemetic remnants fractalized and scattered across the continent, losing their sense of self and devolving into a psionically comatose and tribal patchwork.
What is it about the continent of Africa that just makes you lose all your shit? Like, if you stay up toward the north, you don't get like deep into the jungles and shit. You can kind of be okay. Like, it's hot and sandy, but you can make some kind of living out of it. You can figure out how to train camels and shit. But like, if you get deep into Africa, you just forget how to civilization. It's something about you just get into the continent of Africa. Like, the further south you go, the more civilization you forget. It's weird, bro. I don't know what it is. It's a cursed land. Oh man, you might be right.
Their pineal glands and psionic abilities being locked away for their own safety, and exiling and entombing himself in the Ngwenya mines in modern-day Eswatini, or, as you all know it, Swaziland, with the intention of returning once the time is right and the world is ready for enlightenment. Thus, the reign of the black man had passed, plunging the world into darkness and evil.
You ain't shit without us. This world went dark without us. This world got evil without us. We were the first watchers on the wall. We was the niggas on the wall. And without us, it got dark.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
That was us, Jack Nicholson. That was us. You stole our line, Jack Nicholson. That was a black man's line. Jack Nicholson culturally appropriated some Negroes' sayings from back deep, dark in antiquity. White man always stealing the Negro swag, bro. I tell you.
And the age of the Asian had begun, most famously culminating in what we all know as the Fenno-Korean Hyperwar. As for Yakub, he spent the remainder of his days wiping out pockets of civility across the world. Content with Kemet being contained to the Sub-Sahara, his final act before dying of tetanus was wiping out the remaining black people in Eurasia by releasing what we all now know as the plague.
Damn, that's how they got rid of all the niggas in Asia and Europe or whatever. It was the plague. That's why they called it the Black Plague. Holy shit. Holy shit. That's why they called it the Black Plague. Because that's how we got all the niggas out of Asia and Europe. Oh, my mind has never been so blown. I just unlocked. It was a hidden key that unlocked a hidden lock in a hidden room in a hidden tower on a hidden continent. Like, I just unlocked so many things. Oh snap. Oh snap. It was the Black Plague. That's why it ain't no niggas in Europe. No, it all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. Holy shit.
It was called the Black Death for a reason. Closing out to the modern day.
He said it. He said it. He fucking knew. He knows. This is why I fucks with Dankula. This is why I fucks with Dankula. Because he knew that Black Plague was really, it was the nigga plague. They plagued niggas. They plagued the niggas out of Asia and Europe. That's what he said, Eurasia. He talked about Europe. He's talking about Turkey. He's talking about Asia. He's talking about all of that area. He said, you niggas got to go. He said, you niggas can't be here no more. You know what? We actually wouldn't mind if you all just dropped dead and spilt your guts all over.
This makes Jim Crow look like Jim Eagle.
Today, with the evil white paradigm slowly starting to unravel after 1914, as prophesized all those years ago, the black man is destined to return to his rightful throne of unquestioning galactic dominance, as Allah intended before the most arrogant of his children had a tantrum that resulted in the birth of the grand chthonic adversary and subjecting the world to millions of years of war, death, famine, pestilence, and ska music. And thus we end Genesis and the birth of our master and coconut in chief. He may now be gone.
Did you call him the coconut in chief? That was racist, all right? That was unusually racist from you. I need you to. What happened to peace be upon him? Now all of a sudden it's coconut and chief. See, you're not going to be happy when we finally take the galaxy back. You're not going to be happy. This nigga David talk about a Negro empire. No, I want a galactic melanocracy. All right? We need a galactic melanocracy.
Gone, but his legacy lives on today in basically every single group except the mighty Melanoid Masters. Ave Yakub, peace be upon you. Now, was all of the stuff that I just said true, or did I just rip off Halo and several other gaming franchises and splice them into a made-up story because I found it really, really funny? Well, here's the funny thing. It's actually impossible to tell. But I do challenge Tariq Nasheed.
I told you it was impossible to tell. We don't know where the real fake stuff begins and the fake real stuff starts. We have no idea. We just don't know because this is Negro mythology and that's how it all sounds. Communitah mythology. This is how it all sounds. Dankula is hip to the game.
To debate me on any of it.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.
Yeah, we got to get out of here, y'all. It's over. Tomorrow's a new day. I just wanted to cover this thing because it was hilarious. The fact that Count Dankula found some Communitah mythology and he made a Mad Lads video out of it, shit just tickled my soul. So anyway, now that that's over, I got to get up early in the morning. because, you know, like I said, I got a real job, and you guys got to throw me a donation every now and then so I can keep doing this YouTube stuff. But that being said, you guys have a great night. We are going to get up out of here. I appreciate you all watching.
I need that money.
But I got to get up in the morning. Y'all have a good night. Shout out to Yakub. Peace be upon him. Shout out to Count Dankula. Shout out to all the mad lads out there.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.